Right now, you're most likely sitting somewhere with something wrapped around your feet, and you almost never think about it. But for the vast majority of human history, walking barefoot wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was simply the only option, and it came with real, constant danger. Sharp rocks, thorns, frozen ground, scorching sand. The human foot, remarkable as it is, was never actually built to handle every environment our ancestors needed to survive in. Genetic and anatomical evidence suggests humans began wearing some form of footwear as early as 40,000 years ago, based on changes researchers have identified in ancient foot bone structure, specifically a reduction in toe bone strength and thickness that closely matches what happens to modern feet when they're regularly supported by shoes rather than walking directly on rough terrain. The earliest actual shoe remnants ever discovered, however, come from Fort Rock Cave in Oregon, woven from sagebrush bark and dating back roughly 10,000 years. Simple sandals, but a genuine turning point in how far and how safely early humans could travel. Before this invention, geography itself set the boundaries of human life. Certain terrains, certain climates, certain distances simply weren't survivable on bare feet alone. A woven sandal quietly began erasing those boundaries, one step at a time. By around 3500 BCE, ancient Egyptians had refined sandal making into a genuine craft, weaving papyrus reeds and palm leaves into simple but effective footwear. Sandals in Egypt carried real social meaning. Commoners often went barefoot for daily labor, while wealthier Egyptians and members of the royal court wore elaborately decorated sandals as visible symbols of status and rank. In Mesopotamia, evidence suggests early leather footwear emerged around this same era, offering more durable protection than woven plant fiber alone could provide. Leather could be shaped, hardened, and fitted more precisely to the individual foot, representing a genuine technical leap forward in both comfort and protection compared to earlier sandal designs. Meanwhile, in colder regions further north, entirely different footwear solutions emerged out of necessity. Early peoples living in harsh, freezing climates developed enclosed boots stuffed with grass or fur for insulation, recognizing that survival in extreme cold required footwear, doing far more than simply protecting the sole of the foot from sharp ground. What's striking here is the pattern. Completely disconnected civilizations, facing completely different environmental challenges, all arrived independently at the same fundamental conclusion. Protecting your feet wasn't optional if you wanted to survive, travel, or work effectively in your particular corner of the world. The Roman Empire took footwear and turned it into a genuine tool of military and imperial expansion. Roman soldiers wore caligae, sturdy leather sandal boots, reinforced with hobnails driven directly into the sole, providing exceptional traction and durability capable of surviving thousands of miles of marching across the empire's famous road network. This wasn't a small detail. Rome's ability to project power across 3 continents depended heavily on its soldiers' ability to march long distances reliably, and standardized, mass-produced military footwear played a genuinely underappreciated role in making that possible. Roman military logistics even included dedicated cobblers traveling with legions specifically to repair and replace worn footwear during long campaigns. Beyond the military, Roman footwear also became a clear visual marker of social class, much like it had in Egypt centuries earlier. Senators and wealthy citizens wore elaborately designed shoes in specific colors, reserved by law for their particular social rank, while enslaved people and the poor typically went barefoot or wore only the simplest available sandals. Across the wider ancient world, wherever empires expanded, footwear expanded and evolved alongside them, shaped equally by practical military necessity and the constant, universal human instinct to visibly display wealth and status through what covered your feet. Through the medieval period, shoemaking became an increasingly specialized and respected craft across Europe, with dedicated cobbler guilds forming in major cities to protect trade secrets and maintain quality standards. Notably, medieval shoes were originally made without distinction between the left and right foot. Both shoes, in a pair, were cut identically, meaning they gradually molded to whichever foot happened to wear them most consistently over time. The genuine turning point toward the shoes we'd recognize today arrived far later, in the early 19th century, when American shoemakers began deliberately producing distinct left and right shoe shapes, dramatically improving fit and comfort compared to centuries of identical, interchangeable footwear. This seemingly small adjustment represented a real leap forward in how seriously footwear comfort and individual fit were being taken. Alongside this shift, the invention of the sewing machine in the mid-19th century transformed shoemaking from an entirely hand-stitched process into something that could genuinely be mechanized, dramatically speeding up production while maintaining reasonable quality and consistency across large batches. The late 19th century brought genuine mass production to the shoe industry, as factories adopted increasingly mechanized processes capable of producing standardized shoe sizes at a scale handcrafted cobblers could never have matched. For the first time in human history, affordable, properly fitted footwear became genuinely accessible to ordinary working people across Europe and America, rather than remaining a costly investment requiring a skilled craftsman's individual attention. The 20th century brought further transformation with the rise of rubber and synthetic material, leading directly to the development of the first true athletic sneakers in the early 1900s. Companies began engineering shoes specifically designed for particular sports and activities, recognizing that running, jumping, and general athletic movement demanded genuinely different support and structure than everyday walking shoes. By the mid-20th century, shoes had firmly split into countless specialized categories: work boots engineered for specific industrial hazards, athletic shoes designed around biomechanics, research, and fashion footwear driven increasingly by trends, status, and personal expression rather than pure practical necessity alone. Today, footwear has evolved into an almost bewildering variety of highly engineered forms. Running shoes designed around precise biomechanical research, basketball sneakers built for explosive lateral movement, hiking boots engineered for extreme terrain and weather, and fashion footwear treated in some circles as genuine investment-grade collectible art, with certain rare sneaker releases reselling for tens of thousands of dollars. And yet, strip away all of that modern engineering, marketing, and cultural significance, and the underlying purpose remains exactly the same as it was for that early human weaving sagebrush bark into a simple sandal 10,000 years ago in an Oregon cave. From a woven plant fiber sandal protecting bare feet from sharp rocks, to a Roman soldier's hobnailed caliga marching across an empire, to the shoes currently sitting on your own feet or waiting by your door right now, footwear has always carried the exact same quiet purpose forward across every single era. It's touched, letting the human body go further, safer, and more comfortably than our bare feet alone could ever have managed on their own.